Hello, welcome to the podcast with me and Scott. We've got someone sat next to us. It's not Kai, because Kai's had his last day last week. Oh, wait a minute. There he is. You all right?
He's still here.
Still here.
It's like a bad penny. You can't get rid of him.
I know.
But we have a guest. Sorry.
It's one of those days.
We have a
isn't it?
guest called Joe.
We've all got drinks. We've never had drinks.
No. And obviously I wanted to upgrade it. You said about upgrading. And
I did say about upgrading. We need that. Hi, Joe.
Hi, how you
How
doing?
are you? Yeah,
I'm very
good.
well.
It's nice. I like when people sit here because it's like I like when you have to sort of play tennis with your eyes because you sort of,
We can't get many guests on because of him. He keeps. I've asked for what was his name that took over you from the postcode lottery?
Oh, Jason Donovan.
Yeah.
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 It's
Awkward.
more awkward that you will never get a job with us. Anyway, he's trying to take my job, and he's like, "How can I get it?" and stuff like that. I was like, "We
Got to
never."
have 1 million views. Well, we're doing all right. We've got 56 subscribers.
That's all you need.
Next week, right?
Yeah, little apples.
So, Joe, tell everybody at home what you actually do.
Right, well, I am a life coach. I spend my time working with people, low self-esteem, confidence, relationship advice, communication. I think communications are really important. People kind of have the external communication, they talk and they say to people, also the internal bit inside their own head.
Yes.
And both of them are so important. And when you're communicating, the words you may be saying may not match up with what you're feeling. And I think when that starts to happen, you start to get confused. You start to maybe hold thoughts that aren't yours. Or in relationships, you may be trying to communicate something really, really important that your partner's just missing. Mm-hmm. And then what happens is you end up getting to a situation where they don't listen to me. Why is no one listening to me? And it's actually to do with how you're communicating. And it's about understanding what it is you're trying to say, why you're trying to say it, and what it is you're feeling. Because ultimately, your behavior is your communication before anything else. The way you're behaving is what you're trying to communicate. And the words come next. But we know they get mixed up and confused. So I do a lot of work around communication. Self-confidence, mental health is a massive thing right now. Lots of people are really struggling post-lockdown. Mm-hmm. I think lockdown gave people a chance to stop and physically pause. And I think in that moment, people noticed either weren't happy at all and didn't know what to do, or people quite liked the whole lockdown and actually quite liked the fact they were inside and everything was fine. And then what happens is people then get anxiety about leaving the house again.
Yeah.
And I think what I found is people lost who they were or lost the idea of who they were. So I think everyone's defined by their jobs. I think that's a really important thing. Their jobs, what they do, how much money they earn, what car they drive, all that kind of stuff. Their relationships, their hobbies, just to name a few. And I think when it all stopped, people kind of lost who they were. Or
Their identity,
yeah,
right?
and who they thought they were. I think that was probably more what it is. You take away work, what is it you do? Most people talk about work as their thing to talk about, rather than talking about actually who they are as a person, what they like and what they don't like.
Yeah, because obviously this is how obviously we were doing bits and pieces with mental health before. Obviously, we come over and done this, and obviously we hadn't had the name of it then, did we?
No.
And obviously my PTSD went a bit way off the scale in lockdown. It tipped me over, and obviously Joe was one of the people that I turned to kind of help me through, because obviously the NHS, there was nothing the NHS could do at the time. But how do we, because obviously you see me then on, like, as we called it then, the journey on it, and obviously I was a mess, absolute mess, and obviously we hadn't physically met each other at this point. We were obviously doing it over a phone.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until, like you said, you step back, well, is there truth in what's being said to you? And it's not till you break it all down. Like you said, my actions were saying one thing, but my voice was saying something completely different. And it did come down to the fact that I lost who I was as a person. Like, even Peaky Blinders used to trigger me. And I'd watched that loads of times. Remember we had that conversation, and you were like, yeah, but there's obviously something in there that relates to something that you've seen, done. It's triggering you for a reason. And then obviously we went through certain bits and pieces. Then we obviously had to meet at 2 meters apart. Or, you know, when the lockdown was unlocked but locked and not, you couldn't do all sorts of weird.
Go out, don't go out, stay at home.
Yes,
don't
go
stay at
left,
home,
go
to
no.
work,
You
don't go to work.
You walked on the path left. Yeah, that one. Yeah,
that was
one.
exactly what it was.
Yeah, and then obviously we did certain bits, and obviously Kai was with us at the very beginning of that, and yeah, it's kind of we've all been on a. It's been a very weird 2-3 years.
Yeah, very weird.
Obviously, from where I was to where I am now, because even like some of the conversations that we've had, even as a life coach, mental health has been around you the whole time, and even as somebody that does this, and obviously we've had the private conversations in the sense of there's lots of people out there that, like you just said, have lost their identity because of lockdown. Everyone lives in this great big bubble, and it doesn't seem to be the same bubble anymore. Even after lockdown, you can go back to the same job and drive the same car and go to the same. You now see life different to where it was before lockdown.
I have an idea about this stuff now, that because of everything that happened through the pandemic and lockdown, and people had, you know, lost people didn't lose anyone, you know, people watching the news all the time, people not watching the news. Do you reckon it would have helped a little bit if we just went and did some volunteering afterwards and worked with people who's having a tougher time than you, to put things in perspective, to put things in a box, to sometimes not just think that the worst thing that's happening to you is the worst thing that's happening, and that if we went to another country and we saw, you know, we could have gone to Ukraine, we could have gone to anywhere in the world right now, everything's just freaking out, but like do you reckon that would have helped our mental health a little bit, you know,
I think
to do those things? Because if we sit in our own sadness for too long, I feel, and we think that, oh my God, I don't know if I can get out. I told a story to my friend, and then my friend was like, oh, I'm in a similar situation, and then he told me the story back, and I was like, yeah, that's not similar at all. Yours is terrible. I would never swap places with you. And it put mine into perspective that I could then work through mine in a better way than thinking, well, this has happened and I literally can't deal with it. And I was just like, I heard what was going on in their life, and I was like, well.
Yeah, yours is worse.
I had my cards. I was like, stick. You know what I mean? Honestly,
Yeah,
I was
no
just
reverse.
like, because I literally thought, like, well, this is rubbish. Crap. I feel terrible. And then I heard someone else's story, and I was like, ew.
Yeah,
I'll definitely choose mine. Is there an element of a little bit of that we sit so much in our own problems that we don't really take on the fact that we wouldn't really swap with someone else's problems?
I think it's an interesting idea, but I think people, no matter what you're going through, that's the most important thing to you right now. So if you think about, you know, somebody who's got no money, right now, the most important thing to them is the fact they haven't got any money. That's all they can think about. Whereas somebody who's very, very wealthy but is dying, all they can think about is the fact they're dying.
Mm-hmm.
So, regardless of what the problem is, that becomes the big source of what's going on for them. And everything else almost becomes irrelevant.
But are you leaning into it too much? Like, there's a lovely picture of a person waving at a boat and going, oh my God, savior. And the person on the boat is like waving at the person on the land going, oh my God, dry land.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's...
You're like, no.
and you almost have to get out of your own way.
Yeah.
I think people... The thing about like how your mind works and how subconscious works, the subconscious protects you from anything difficult. So you ever had a feeling of like you go into a big exam or a big meeting, you go, I hope I don't get sick. I really hope I'm not sick for this. You end up getting sick. That's your brain going, we got you. We'll give you an excuse to get out of this now. It provides a space for you to avoid, so I can't come in, I'm not feeling very well. And your brain does that, and your brain will then keep you in positions where it's uncomfortable because the rest of the world seems more scary. So you end up getting in your own way, and then you start giving yourself reasons why you can't go and help out with people. You can't hear anybody else's stories because you're actually stuck in that moment of, well, what I'm doing is really bad and it's really scary. I don't know what to do. And a lot of the work that I do is about supporting people to be present in how they're feeling right now.
Oh, it's the most important thing.
And then actually then owning it. People will outsource misery. Somebody else's fault. It's God's will. It's bad luck. Whereas anything good, that's me. I did that.
yeah.
You know, it's won the lottery. That's me. I bought the ticket. Or, you know, you get a good job, that's me. Whereas you're not happy, it's everybody else's fault. And people outsource it. So actually it's about, well, why are you unhappy? What is your role in where you are right now? What can we then do to build you out of where you are right now? Because being a coach, it's not about having answers. People always say, oh, give us your top tip. And it's like, okay, I'll give you this tip. Your life's going to be completely different. And actually, it's not true. Because my job is to facilitate them. People come to me looking for solutions. But the solutions are inside them. You have the answers for you. You have the answers for you. I may have the questions. I may be able to sit with you in how you're feeling. But then also say, well, we'll sit here for now. But actually, we're going to be moving. We're not going to rest where we are because this place isn't where you want to be. It's about that process of guiding them, but also knowing they've got the answers themselves. They already know. You think about everything you go through, you already know. It's about having that person to say, well, why are you doing that?
Well, people make the worst decisions in life. Most people's bad things that are going on in their life, not all, but most things are down to the shitty decisions that you have made.
Which is your own
You know what I
making,
mean?
right?
Yeah, well, in some sort of format, and you sometimes you get caught in making it worse because you either cover it up, you either lie about it, you do it again multiple times. You're like, I have no idea why this is happening or something. You're like, well, you do, you know, and you have to try and stop yourself from doing it. Well, and then you make excuses. Well, I was drinking, or mate, I got caught in a moment, or you know, you're like, no.
But at that moment, it was the right decision.
No, it wasn't.
But if you think about it, there's a moment in your head where you've gone on him. You've decided. You've made the decision to do it.
Have you made a decision,
this is good.
or is
100%.
it? And that's a big number. But the funny thing is about it is that have you made a decision, or does our own DNA, our own primal instincts, just allow things to happen? You're like, I actually have no control over this situation. You know what I mean? Like you can be like, oh yeah, I did that, so I have to own it. I'm like, but you also know if you don't do it, what that means. So if you don't go and drink loads, and you don't jump in a fight to save your friend, and you don't hit someone, and they don't fall on the floor, and they don't like the things in those situations. If you say, well, I didn't do it, I stopped it right at the beginning. I was like, I'm just gonna have 3 drinks. All those other situations literally disappear. But if you just went, no, but you know, if it happens, then I'll have to deal with it that way. I'm like, no. You sometimes have to think forward to be like, wait a minute, if we do this, like if I go and sleep with that girl over there and I don't use protection, I might get something, or I might have a baby that I don't want to have.
Yeah.
So what I could do is either not sleep with them or use protection.
Yeah.
You can project those things forward, that making sure that you're not making life things, especially being young. I'm not pointing at me, I'm pointing at Kai. But, you know, especially being young and stuff like that, like you don't want, unless you do want those situations, you don't want those situations to happen. So if you think forwardly and you just go, oh, by the way, if I don't do these things, it doesn't lead to things I don't want to happen. I'll be like, right, okay, I've stopped that. Yeah. And I think a lot of people just go, yeah, but it just happened. So I'm like, if I look at most people's life, I look at all of my friends, I can pinpoint on my own. I can pinpoint every single decision that I made and the completely wrong ones that did not lead to places that need to be.
Yeah, but hang on a minute. Doesn't it all depend what life chucks at you on the day, or what's going on and surrounding you?
Of course it does.
Friends
Individual stuff does. But I'm just saying there are literally things that you should say. If you say, I probably get in trouble if I drink more than 5 drinks, so don't drink more than 5 drinks.
Yeah.
There you go.
But is that life experience?
There is life experience, and we spoke about this before. But if you learn about it and you be like, because yes, there is life experience, but if you ask anyone, when you lose control is when you have probably over 5 drinks.
Yeah, but, right. No. I see. I agree with obviously the drink, but the best way I learn is by my mistakes, because otherwise, it's always.
But why
what
do they
if,
have
right?
to be yours, mate? Why do they have to be your mistakes? If someone wants to go and do kitchen projects in my house, and they're like, oh, I have never done this before, I'm going to ask someone, and I'll learn from their mistakes. I'm not going to do it, make my mistakes, and then be like, oh, I've learned from my mistakes. No, I'm learning. I feel like we don't outsource enough and be like, oh, how do we do this? Or what's the best way of doing this? How do we get this to be better? We could talk about this podcast. How can we get more views? We don't outsource. We don't ask all the other podcasters how they do it. We just keep on doing our thing, and then we're like, oh, we only still got like 60, 100, 200 views. Why? Well, because you're not doing these 7 things that you need to do. Well, until we do them, we'll never change. But we have to outsource. What's the point of learning from our failures for like a year instead of just asking other people? Like, that's why people come to, Joe and ask him for not help, but guidance in some sort of format.
I think it's important that I have my own coach.
Mm-hmm. And your coach has their own coach.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this is like a money-making thing, isn't it?
But I tell you
Bloody hell, it's like a pyramid scheme.
I'll tell you why, right? If you went to a doctor and the doctor said, right, you take your tablets, and he went, look, I wouldn't take them, I think you should take them. You'd be like, well, why wouldn't you take them? You're a doctor. Why would you not take your tablets? Oh, it's not for me. I wouldn't want to take them myself. I don't need that sort of stuff, but you probably should take them. You'd be, that's mad. Because surely you'd want a doctor who will practice the medicine on you. They're practicing on themselves.
What if he was allergic to penicillin? I'm checking.
Well, I am. So
oh, there you go.
I wouldn't do that.
Maybe
So,
I knew this.
Yeah, see, there we go. I'm actually a doctor.
Are you really? Oh, wow.
No chance. But so I believe a coach has to have a coach, because that way you're doing your own work on yourself. Just because you're a coach, just because you're wherever it is, no matter where you are in the world, you always need somebody to support you to the next bit. Mm-hmm. And what a good coach does is they show you, as you're saying, the cheat sheet. Here's the mistakes that I made. So and then you haven't got to make them. I never smoked because my mum smoked. I watched her find it really hard to stop smoking. So I never got involved in smoking. So I've seen this before.
What did you do instead?
I didn't.
You didn't do. You had no other advice.
No.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. I missed
Is
that.
he just not willing to say it on the podcast?
No, honestly, there was nothing. Like I drank and stuff like that, but nothing. Never smoked because I saw how hard it was to quit.
Mm.
So that for me was like a no-no. So I thought it's really hard to quit. It's not very healthy. It's expensive. So I stopped doing it. So I think we outsourcing things, because what you find when you get to a certain point is you reach the limit of your knowledge.
Of course.
And when you get to that point, some people get stuck, which actually is a really exciting time. Because now you know what you need to do next to get to the next bit. And that's why coaches have coaches. Because...
Yeah, but see, I did the opposite. My mum smoked. My mum smoked, my father smoked, everyone's like, in my family smoked. You would have thought, I would have gone, oh, no, I smoked.
Oh, my parents hated smoking, so I smoked. So none of them smoked, but I smoked.
Yeah. What? You don't smoke now, though, right?
No, it's 9 years, actually, next week. So, but it's... unfortunately, as a smoker, I'm a smoker forever. I'm just haven't smoked for 9 years.
Yeah.
That everyone's, once a smoker, always a smoker. That's the situation. Like, you can give up, but I can literally smoke now. I just don't.
I see. My problem is I enjoy it too much. I know it's bad for
Me
me.
too.
I know it's expensive.
Me too.
You just enjoy it too much. That's the problem. You have your dinner.
Yeah.
But obviously, again, to me, it's like outsourcing my stress. That little cancer stick is my outsource. Like, I'm on the phone, having a stressful time, have a fag. Having a bad time, have a fag. Have something to eat, have another fag.
Well, you just built into... That's the thing that you go to. Like,
it's my go-to.
People just look at their phones, or they, try and watch other things, eat food, have an alcoholic drink. That's your go-to of that. To be honest, it's not the best, but I'd rather you smoke than you drank excessively.
Well, yeah.
Because I know that you have to drive places, and you have kids, and you have to do stuff, and it's easier for you to be functioning with a cigarette than it would be functioning if you were just drinking gin under the table. Wait a minute, what's in there?
It's gin.
So, but okay.
Here we go.
So obviously we're ticking away.
Yeah.
We've all got busy days.
Mm-hmm. Are you looking at me?
No, mate. Kai, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
He's
He
here.
hasn't left yet.
No.
I don't know how many times.
Is
I've tried
this
to-
his last
I'm
day?
still here.
Oh, apparently it was last week was his last
Oh yeah,
one.
but this one's definitely his last day. He's not here next week.
Oh, no. He's decided he's coming in next week.
So
Oh.
is he here just for me? Is that why he's back?
Yeah, maybe you need to.
I'm
coach
here
him.
just to see you. It's been quite a long time.
This is like a little party, a reunion party before I was here. You know when you find out your parents had a relationship before you were born, you're like,
What? What do you mean you had some?
what? You were married before? You met Dad when you were 16. What's going on? What country do we live in? So for you and everything you're doing, how do you get to the point of being a life coach and being in that part of your life? Because I feel like it's, for me, when I hear people saying I'm a life coach, I'm just like, oh, someone's found Jesus. It's true. Like, I have that in my mind. I'm like, if you ever become a life coach or find God. It's a two thing. Like, did something happen? Was there a light switch that came on?
I'll tell you what happened for me. I think I was in a role in the job that I kind of enjoyed it. I kind of wanted more, and I was told not the right time. Not the right time in business, by the way, means no. It's a polite way of saying no.
It's the same on Tinder as well.
Yeah. So you know the feeling, right? So when you get that, not right now, I always go, well, when is the right time? Not right now. But I'm going to keep what you've got on the desk. Cool. So that means basically it's not going to happen, is it? So, and also I'm never in your office, so I can't even check it's there. So I got to a point of saying, well, do you know what? If for too many days you're doing things you don't want to do, something has to change. And I started thinking about, well, what is it I really want to do? What is it that really interests me? And I started listening to like motivational speakers, like people like Les Brown, Eric Thomas, people like that. And even though they were on YouTube talking to millions of people, I thought they're talking to me. And they weren't, but what they were saying was resonating with me. So then I started to think, well, how many people in the world get told not right now? How many people feel how I'm feeling right now? And then I got to the point of, well, how many people don't get out of this feeling? Some people just settle, and before you know it, you're in a job for 60 years. And I was like,
Great pension though.
great pension, hopefully.
Yeah.
But, I thought that's not what I want. So I started looking, I started hunting out the best life coaches I could find and saying to them, will you talk to me? Will you give me half an hour? What is it you do? How is it you do it? And I started doing this, and one particular life coach said, right, I'm going to spend some time with you. It's not going to cost anything, it's going to be a gift from me to you. And the guy was called Sachin. And I was like, okay, so when do you want us to get started? So I was like, maybe in 2 years' time, I'll be ready. He goes, I'm going to stop you there. And I can't say his exact words, he was swearing. But he said, basically, if you're not ready to start right now, I'm not interested. Put some swear words into that. I was like, whoa, but I don't know if I am. He said, if you're not ready right now, I'm not interested. You're wasting everyone's time. I was like, right. So we're going to do this. And I started to apply everything he'd told me to apply.
You literally said to him, not right now.
Yeah. So so then I started to apply everything he told me to apply. And then I got to the point where people were talking to me. And people have always spoke to me and disclosed things and just sort of chatted. They're probably on those faces that people just want to tell the life story to. And I thought, well...
You wait. Right.
So I was like, I probably need a qualification. It's not a regulated field in the UK. In America it is, it's not here. So I was like, I don't want to be, anyone can be a life coach. We can set up a life coach right now without qualifications. I was like, that's not what I want to be doing. So got qualifications. It matched with all my sort of training I'd already done. It's like coaching people. And then what I found was the feeling you get helping somebody else get to where they want to be and being a small part of that journey is amazing.
You're a good teacher in some sort of format. You know, when you were at school and there was like one teacher, it could be a substitute teacher, but one teacher and you're like, yeah, you helped me. All the others didn't help me whatsoever. That's what you are.
It's finding that connection, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's based in a deep rapport. So actually it's building a relationship with that person before anything else happens. Because the reality is I don't work with every single person I speak to. Because it has to be a good fit for them. It has to be a good fit for me. Because that's the only way the service works, as in serving them to get to where they want to be. And it's the only way it works. Because if you haven't got a rapport with somebody, you just sat there, you're on your phone, you're not interested. Whereas if you're invested in that person, you understand that person, you get to the depths of where they are. And that was kind of why it started. And then I started to realize actually that I'm doing some really cool stuff. I meet some really cool people. Like I work with Paralympians. I've worked with people that are in super high up special, like the Army and the RAF, people that are really, really high up. And kind of coming with, I don't know who I am. What's next? And kind of, you get to be a part of people's lives.
Oh, when you achieve your dream that you've probably had for the last 10, 15 years and you do it, you have no idea what to do afterwards. And people are like, what's your new dream? You're like, I don't know. I've had this dream for 20 years. Like, I had I had exactly the same situation with my life. Like, everyone's like, oh, what's next? I was like, no idea.
Yeah, for you, that's, I could see that, obviously.
No idea.
But did you have any life coaching or somebody giving you advice or.
No.
Do you know what I mean? It just
Like I had friends and stuff like that, and a lot of them are very, very, very good people. And one of them is not a life coach, but like on that way of sort of doing that, the same journey and stuff that you're doing. But I had some good people. But it's so funny because it's so conflicting because you could say, "Oh, my life coach said this," and they'll be like, "Well, that's terrible information." Like, but the person you're telling because it's against them, and you're like, well, is it terrible because it's making me feel better, but you feel like a little bit worse because I'm calling you out, and that could be your manager, that could be your partner, it could be your family member, I think for me especially when it comes to I've said this last time we had another guest on that when it comes to outreaching for help, I felt I had like 4 friends I could probably just say, hey, like when people reach out to you and stuff like that, there's an element they know what you've been through. Because I know in the last 20 years, that's why I don't get to school reunions. Because I know I'll go and it'll be the saddest day ever. Because everyone will just tell you, like, oh, how's everything going? I lost my job, my mum died, I've got no money, and my relationship's failed. And you're like, oh, okay. And they're like, how about you? I was like, just finished working with Jason Donovan. So
I might get Scott a job.
I'm gonna try. I'm changing my mind. Yeah.
You
To get Scott a job doing what?
postcode lottery.
He wants to work for the postcode lottery. He wants someone knocking on your door, someone
Do
ringing the bell.
you do a red jacket in like an extra large?
Mate,
we could do
you
this.
can get you all together.
I'm being serious. I want a
I'm
job.
going to bring in some red jackets next week, right? For Kai as well, because apparently he's here. And yeah, we'll do it.
At least Callan stuck to his gun and just left when he said he was going to leave. Right?
You know what I mean? Not even come back.
Nah.
That's commitment.
He's doing very well.
He's doing really well at the moment. Obviously, Callan, I know that you're watching this.
Let's go back into what the show's all about and then see what Joe has to say about our hot topics as well. Do you want to press the button for us, please, Scott?
I'm going to go with a different one today.
Oh.
Hot Topics.
Oh, yes. It is Hot Topics, and we're over to Kai for his penultimate podcast recording, because he's here next week. What is going on? There's only one thing we're talking about, yeah?
Yes, it's the fact that I'm still here next week.
That I was going to say.
That's our hot topic.
That is
Isn't
our
it?
hot
Like-
topic. No, so last Thursday, unfortunately, the Queen, she was taken to Ballamore Hospital around midday. And I believe it was around 6 o'clock in the afternoon. It was announced that she had passed away after being seen by all her families and other royal members of the royal family. She's passed away, and her funeral is on Monday, this coming Monday, which is now a bank holiday, so everyone can obviously mourn her loss. And I believe, I'm not sure if it's 9 or 12, but the country is in a period of mourning.
And there's big queues. There are big queues right now, and people are being out on the street. And yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that we probably thought it was going to happen in our lifetime. She was 96, so she'd been on the throne for 70 years. We weren't sure what was going to happen, if Charles was going to go on or he was going to allow William to go on, or blah blah blah. But it looks like Charles is going to do it. We're going to have a king anyway. So that means everything changes. So from money is going to change, stamps going to change. Even post boxes have got her initials on as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I heard apparently that Heinz tomato ketchup have something to the royal on as well.
Yeah, they've got to change the whole thing.
Everything's
Yeah.
going to change. But we got to get. We've been used to this situation for a long time. A lot of people have, and I would like to say, I would like anyone to be honest about this topic and stuff like that. But I would implore anyone to slightly just be a little bit respectful, in the sense that no matter what you may think of royals, and I completely understand that, and is that someone lost their mum and someone just lost their gran and someone just lost their great grandmother, and I think in those situations we can dehumanize people as much as we want to, but it was still a human being, even if they had a crazy amount of privilege, and I completely understand that. But I just feel like sometimes we do forget that we are just talking about a human being and someone's mum, someone's gran, someone's great gran.
Well, yeah, of course. Because obviously, my son, he's 14. And obviously, they don't take it. That's why obviously you knew the Queen had died. They come home, they're talking about it, bits and pieces of that. And do you know what he come out with? He said, we're going to see 3 lots. I was like, 3 lots of what?
Oh, yeah.
He said, in my lifetime, I will see
Did you say in his,
Queen.
not in ours?
And I thought, hang on. Well, I'm definitely going to see 2, but obviously for his age,
Yeah.
he's basically saying he's going to see 3 monarchs.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, he's seen the Queen, now he's seen Charles, but he knows obviously William's lined up.
Yeah.
In his book, in his head, and everything like, he's saying no, Charles should step down. I was like, for a 14-year-old to even have an opinion on it, I was like, but why? Because he's too old. And I was like,
Because it's a lot of change
Yeah.
for maybe for the next 20 years. Because what is he, 70?
74, isn't he?
Oh, my goodness.
Something like that. 70 between.
Can't
no,
you can look that up, can't you? How old
I'm
is,
sure he's
Charles
74
is?
shortly. But obviously, like, he's clocked that in his lifetime, he should be seeing 3 monarchs. So it will change. And obviously, in most of our lifetime, the Queen's always been there. Even
He's
when you had
73.
73, there you go, perfect.
So he's, in our lifetime, we've heard the, obviously, national anthem. And even when they were playing it for Charles, what was the first thing that popped into everyone's head? God save the Queen, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't feel right. And obviously,
We just haven't never done it.
no.
Because George was before. People
But
would have
everyone
been
just
used to it
expected
being
her to
George.
be there.
Yeah.
It's, you know, she's not, was she 93, 94, something like that?
96.
96.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Pretty good going.
That is
She's
a-
like 4 years away from giving herself her own letter. You know what I mean? I'm like, damn it.
But there's people, I get obviously, there's people aren't happy with certain members of the royal family.
Oh,
and this
yeah,
is
of
where the
course.
respect bit comes in. Yeah, not saying don't have your opinion, don't say nothing,
No, completely.
but just do it after the funeral.
Yeah, even do it after the day. Like, I saw on social media straight away that people were just like, "Arr." I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. Like, ex-football players are saying stuff, and I was like, you know, this is never, like, people who did my year of X Factor and stuff are saying stuff. I was like, I just don't, you will get traction. Don't get me wrong. You'll get people, you know, liking or disliking or commenting and stuff. I understand what you're doing. But just a little tiny bit of respect, and then you can literally go back to normal and say whatever you want. But at this point, I just find it so weird. And I'm not a royalist in any capacity. Like, I'm not going to queue up. I'm not going to. But anyone who does, I was like, oh,
Is that because you didn't get
have a
knighted?
good go. I didn't get yet. So, though, if you were going to get knighted, you'll be good. I want to get knighted by the Queen. I don't.
I've got a theory.
Go on. Here we go.
I've got a theory.
Here we go.
When change happens, it's scary.
Yeah.
And when change happens, especially you don't want the change because the Queen. Like, I'm not a big royalist, but she seemed good. I heard lots of nice things about her.
Yeah.
And the way she was, and funny stories about her person. So to all intents and purposes, she seemed like a nice person and had a lot of positivity around her. The rest of the family hasn't always been viewed that way. And I think when she went, there will be people that are cross. That life as we know it's changing. That the person we really liked isn't there anymore. So what people do is they think, well, I can't be cross at them because they're dead. So where can I put my crossness?
Meghan.
I'm going to be cross at Meghan. Even though, you know, there are other members of the royal family that have made some questionable decisions. And we don't know the ins and outs of it all.
Allegedly.
But allegedly, you know, we don't know.
I like
But there is people put their crossness places where they think I can do that. And especially Meghan, who's not going to be in the country, she'll be back off to the States. We can be cross at them. It doesn't matter because I've got all these feelings I can't hold myself. So I'm going to put them somewhere else. And actually, underneath it, probably is just sadness. Because I think really, if people are being really in touch with what's going on for them, actually, they're just sad. And they're scared. And they've got a big change coming that they didn't want, potentially. And it's about, what can I do? So I can be cross. I'm going to be angry at this person. When actually that person, you know, Meghan is managing pretty well from what I can see. And
Do you
the
think?
news.
Do you think the thing with Meghan is the same thing as Diana? People want to say it's about race, but I actually just think it's about class. I just think
I agree 100%.
I don't think it's about. It's so easy to make it about race. It's so easy to say anything racist. It's totally easy to say that first thing. If you're driving your car and someone cuts you up and it's a woman or it's a person with ginger hair wearing glasses, the thing you're going to say is that's the first thing you're going to
Most
say.
offensive things.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I feel like actually the same. If we went back in time, I was.
She just doesn't fit in, does she? Rather than it's to do with
But she
the colour
doesn't
scheme,
need. But she doesn't need to
doesn't fit in.
because I feel like, and we spoke about this before. I feel like what she's done is she's gone into the royal family, and Harry's just gone. I'm not happy, and they're like, why? He's like, well, I don't really have a place here. I'm not going to be king. I don't really have a place here. I don't want. I don't want to be like other members. I'm not like Edward, who just wants to be quite quiet. Like I'm around and stuff like that. But I also blame them because I don't have my mum. And I blame I blame my family a little bit, and I blame the press, and I just don't. And she was, I guarantee that who knows, right? But the conversation would have gone, okay, well, come with me.
Yeah.
I don't. You don't have to be this if you're not happy. Because if you ask Harry, he was like, I don't want to be affiliated with the people who murdered my mum. He's not talking about his family. He's talking about the press. And then that same press are doing exactly the same. Today is Diana's 25 years since she died, right? They're doing exactly the same. They will not be happy until they cause harm to this woman.
But bad news and harm, like, sells papers, right? Sells news, sells everything. Positive stuff.
No, of course.
It's just like, to me.
But you say that if William and Kate have a child, or when they got married and stuff like that was all over the papers. That people loved it and stuff like that. People actually loved Meghan and Harry and stuff like that. But I think that Harry was so damaged. So damaged.
Everybody needs, like, you know what you were saying earlier, as in, you're not happy. It's basically, in every family, it doesn't matter whether it's a royal family, there's always the good one, there's always the bad one, and there's always, do you know what I mean? And you've got William, obviously they can't start on him too much because he's the king, right? Or going to be the king. So you can't really go too far into it. But then you've got Harry. Oh, hang on a minute. He's brought, oh, hang on. It's not the same. So literally, she cottoned on that she was different. How many, there isn't that many other people in the royal family that is married an actress that's gone down that. They've kind of stuck within their own.
I think this.
And she's an outsider.
Well, until Diana, that wasn't really. I know the Spencers and stuff were around, but that wasn't their own. So I think it just became a situation of people choosing people. Like even William, he didn't choose. Like Kate's from Bucklebury. She's from up the road. You know what I mean? She's from okay stock, but she's upper middle class at most.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But there's just a different, and don't get me wrong, I guarantee, of course, race has something to do with it a little bit, but sometimes just being a woman and being persecuted in a way that the women do. And Kate kind of plays the game of like, she kind of shuts up, she plays her role well, she doesn't say anything, she's kind of queen-like.
But if you not noticed, like even when they got married in bits and pieces, William and Kate, they have a connection where they look at each other without having to say anything. That they knew what the other one was. It was like a private conversation they were having.
Relationship's different.
Yeah, but
I think we look too hard because I think there's so much negative.
we're looking
energy.
for something to go. Well, are they as strong as we want them to be?
And
Are
this
they
is why the Queen was the Queen, because if you think about it, we would say she may be a little bit kind of like held back, but she never really gave an interview. You know, you didn't really see much stuff. She's, you know, in a sense, she'd do a Queen speech, but it was very, you know, written for her and melodic and stuff like that. But like, she stayed out of drama herself. Like, tell me how many dramas that the Queen had?
None.
You know what I mean? There must be some.
Of course there is.
I know friends who work for her, and she knew every single name of the horse, all the horses there, all of them. I'm like, what? Yeah. I was like, that's crazy. There's this. She was statesman-like. You know what I mean? She was just this.
What do you reckon she was actually really like?
I apparently
Not what we see on TV.
No. Apparently, she was. I try not to get conflicted with like watching The Crown, but yeah,
Yeah, gone up by 900%.
Apparently, she was like Olivia Colman. No. Apparently, she was just quite fun and cheeky, but then also held back and respectable. Remember, she wasn't actually in line to be the Queen.
No,
it wasn't meant to happen.
Wasn't it a dad's brother or something?
Yeah. Dad's brother was supposed to be in, but then there was a scandal with that about marriage. Yeah, again, it was a class thing. You know what I mean? So, because she'd been divorced. Oh my God. You know what I mean? So, and that's a difficult thing. So it was thrust upon her. It was never supposed to be that line whatsoever. And then all of a sudden, she knows not only for her, but for her husband and for her children and then her children's children, it's going to affect them for the rest of their life, good or for bad. There's a lot to put on you. And everyone's just like, well, it's just privilege. I was like, even if I think we live in privilege, the people who we're from living in the Western world, and people look at us and we don't feel like we're privileged, but we are massively.
Well, yeah, because. But in a sense of, like, if you look at the royal family, they must have people like life coaches, people that are, surely, because obviously when Meghan's, oh no, we just got this, we got that, blah, blah. That can't be the case.
I can't read it, can you? It's
think-
terrible.
I think Harry and Meghan disrupted the paradigm, which is the unwritten rules, Because there's a way you behave, and there's a way that you are meant to. There's generationally set up for you. You don't know it's a rule, but you know it's a rule. It might be like every firstborn boy goes to the military. You don't know it's a rule. You're not told it is, but you kind of know dad did it, granddad did it. You know, and with a royal family, there was an unwritten rule of this is what you do. This is where you go. This is how you behave. Even the way, like, I've noticed things like how they walk. Like, I noticed there was a clip on social media about Harry and Meghan and Will and Kate were walking. And Meghan went to walk out in front and Harry pulled her back and was like, no, you need to wait.
Etiquette.
Because the etiquette was the king goes first.
Yeah.
They go first. And these are all unwritten rules that just as what you do. And I think what Harry and Meghan did was actually say, well, actually, he's not going to be, he's like a middle manager, isn't he? He's not going to ever make...
He's still my brother.
Yeah,
It don't matter.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
But he's never going to be king because now he was like second in line or third in line for the throne. Now he's like seventh or eighth.
Yeah, well, he's way down the pecking order.
You know, and his life is going to be as it is now. And I think what he did, and I think what the press and the public really dislike is the fact he's gone, well, I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to have the unwritten rule. I actually want to be, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to put my energy into things that really interest me. And I know charity is one thing he's really big on. And a lot of what he's done is disrupted what is the said, done particular thing. It may even have started from the fact that he married an actress. We'll never know. I think it's one of the things we will never ever know.
Yeah, and it goes back to right at the beginning of the discussion we had. The things that you do, you've got to think when you make those decisions what it leads to. And it's fine to follow your natural instincts or your heart or just go, let's just go with it. What is what it is, you know, all those sort of things. But sometimes you have to be like, right, if I make this decision, which I am making this decision, where am I in 5 to 10 years' time and what does it do? If you're just like, oh, I'll just do it, I guarantee because of the situation, they in the end will not be happy because there's too many things against them, and that negative energy will make you feel rubbish, and then you start acting out in a way. Well, people expect it from me, so why wouldn't I act like that?
Yeah.
Or I'm going to hold on to you tighter than ever. And if you hold on to anything too tight, it dies.
It's like you had those moments where you're about to do something scary, and you just go, "Let's go, let's do it." And when you're younger, that can be things like jumping off a shed roof. You go, "Oh, sorry, I just bounced, didn't I?" Whereas as you get older, you think, "Whoa, if I jump off a shed roof, I'm going to break an ankle. Like my bones are more fragile now. I'm heavier."
How old do you think we are?
Well, I'm judging on Scott's age.
You are the old man in the room. I'm just
So-
saying, it's fine.
You're
and
older than me.
I am not older than you.
Listen.
I was born
Why
in
are you lying?
1982.
Sorry, what?
1982.
Why is he lying?
What do you mean, why am I lying?
You're actually older than me.
No, I'm not. I'm born in 1982.
I was born in 1985.
No, you weren't, you little liar. I can see Kai laughing just behind us as well. He's like, whatever.
like 2000 over there.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah, that's fine. I think it's the end of an era. Loads of stuff is going to change. I think I'm for change always. I love change. I think it's really great. I embrace change, and because if you don't, it will scare you. And I feel like I'm then doing it to myself. So I'm like, nope, just enjoy change. And if I came back, even the smallest thing, if I came in here and you changed everything around, I'm like, which you do all the time. I'm like, okay, that's fine.
Yeah, but I don't think the whole world kind of understands. You don't have to be a royalist. I'm not. None of us are here. But I do quite like the fact that we have a king, queen, a royal family. Because if you look back through history, like the Russians, they killed theirs, the French killed theirs. Do you know what I mean? All right, maybe we didn't have the best monarchs at certain times. But she's brought so much money in, and this is where I say Charles should step down. Because William will bring loads more to the table than his dad will.
It's just less scandal, isn't there, really? It's
Well,
just,
yeah.
you know,
It's, and everybody
William's less
loves-
political
Yeah,
and
but
stuff like
everybody-
that, so.
But
I
can
don't
you
think-
imagine waiting your whole life for something? He's literally been building his entire life to get to this point.
Yeah, but I understand that. But do you have kids?
No.
No. So if you had a kid, right, and you were going to get inheritance, right, from a family member,
Yeah.
and you waited your whole life, and you didn't get it until you're 70, right? But then you had a kid, and that kid is like 20, 25. Do you be like, do you know, I'm probably just going to give it to you anyway? Because
Well,
in the end, that's what you
I
are
mean.
doing. You aren't going
But
to
I
do
guess-
that because in the sense of just like you've gone past the point they actually even need it.
I wonder if he's at a point of thinking about history,
I just think it's
and
too,
I'm wondering about actually, does he just want his name
maybe.
in the history?
Yeah, but he
books?
would have been, because he would have been like the
person
Queen's mother. He would be the King's father.
But would you? I don't know. Part of me just thinks maybe just for a week, just have that little.
Do you reckon there's
there you
enough
go.
ego? Because my thing about it is like his mum's just died. Like for him to then be like, oh, I'd be like, do you know what? It's actually easier than I can just give it to my son. If he doesn't want to, that's completely fine. But then he has to take on what everyone's going to do, and what they're going to do is slag off his wife. Because
Oh,
they were like,
100%.
Queen Camilla, nah. I've already heard it from like from my neighbour who's older, and he was like, nope. Because
No, I agree with
he's
that.
traditional.
Yeah.
So.
no.
Yeah, I mean it's a talking point, and I like it that it was nice and respectful. Kai, what is on the next part of the show?
So the next part of the show is a little game.
Little
game
Is it
song.
a Queen game?
I can make it a Queen game.
No,
if you want.
only if it-
I hadn't planned to.
Only if it's the band. Sorry.
Wait, the Queen was in a band.
Yes. Do you not know this?
What? No, I didn't
she
know.
was in a band.
Yeah.
What? The Queen?
Queen Elizabeth II was in a band.
No, Freddie Mercury, you dickhead.
Who's Freddie Mercury? No, I'm joking.
I was
His
just like,
face when I
no,
said
but
that.
do you know, I knew you were joking because I was like, wait a minute.
His face when I said that. So we're gonna play a little game
Okay.
called Two Truths and a Lie.
So,
How this will work is each one of you will come up with two truths and a lie.
oh,
You will each then guess.
did you prep us for this?
No, I can't prep you for this. It has to. It's got to be on the spot.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's got to be on the spot. I was going to prep you, but you kept making fun of the fact that I'm still here. But yeah, so I'm going to ask you to come up with two truths and a lie. Everyone
Okay.
will go around the table
Yep.
and guess which one is the lie. If you get it right,
Right.
you get a point.
Everyone's
will
gone quiet
sack
because
him
everyone's
after
thinking
this.
about this.
Yeah.
It's fine.
You get a point, and the winner at the end gets a prize.
Oh, a prize.
Yeah, gets a prize.
I'm excited for
I
this.
will not tell you what the prize is, but
Well, you didn't tell us
guess
about this, so why would you tell us about the prize?
exactly.
Is the prize a camera?
Oh, the prize is the camera. Are you going to win this?
Yes, the Berkshire. Yes, Scott has kindly donated all of the equipment you see in this room to be the prize.
Okay.
Here we go. Right.
No, there's a different prize altogether. And because Scott's the only one that hasn't said anything yet, I'm going to ask him to go first. Scott, in your own time, two truths and a lie.
There we go.
Two truths.
Yes. Don't do it in those
And a
orders.
lie.
Though. Don't do it in that order, though.
Yeah, you can't. You don't. It can be in any order you want. It can be the most
Shall I
outrageous.
save you, and shall I go first for you?
Okay.
Yeah, go on.
Because I feel like that's a bit mean to be like, I knew in the sense, you're doing it like you're not on camera, but you're on camera. He's like, I don't know what I'm doing, it's fine. You're bending backwards. Okay, here we go. So my first one I'm going to say is I'm about to shoot a new Christmas commercial, but we have a special guest, which isn't just Jason Donovan, it is Natalie Imbruglia. And Natalie Imbruglia had just won The Masked Singer. So that's where we go around. The other one is I have just recorded a Christmas song yesterday. I wrote.
You told me you weren't doing any of that. So
This
that's
is what
a
the
lie.
Two truths and a lie. And the last one is I have been asked by Butlins for next year to take part in The Masked Singer. They're going to be doing The Masked Singer live at Butlins next year, all through our next year.
He's
So
such a
it's
good liar,
exclusive.
isn't he?
Which one?
Which one?
So there are
The acting's
three
coming
there.
through, isn't it?
There are three there. So Jason Donovan, Natalie Imbruglia. The middle one is that I just recorded a Christmas song, and then I am going to be on stage at Butlins doing The Masked Singer. So that's exclusive, if it's true.
Do we get to ask questions?
You can ask any questions.
You can ask
it's
any
like,
questions,
This is
yeah.
like what's the program? Would I lie to you? Isn't it? Like,
Yeah. I'll tell you what. You get to ask one question.
Oh,
you get
one question each.
No, three questions each. One
Oh,
directed
how
at
long
each
is-
one.
How long is this bloody
Mate, oh
thing?
my God.
All right.
I need a
One
wee.
question each.
We're just
Everyone gets one
okay.
question
Okay.
each.
Okay, who's going? You go first.
I got one anyway, so
Okay.
I'll go first.
Okay, go on.
The Christmas song.
Yes.
What is it?
It's called I Can't Wait.
Oh, that was quick for quick.
And it's about just that moment just before Christmas, and it's got a lovely chorus that and starts with a shooting star.
Okay. I have a question for you.
Okay.
So obviously you've said multiple times that you don't want to sing. What is it? What is it about this that's made you want to do this Christmas song?
You forget the fact that I wrote it. I didn't say I was singing it. Anyway.
I feel like you did.
Yeah.
I feel like you did say you were singing it.
Why not? I have to put down the vocals so people can go and we can sell a song. But yeah, I didn't. It's not for me to
Okay.
be released. Yeah, go on then. Do you have a?
Okay.
Yeah.
So
It's kind of put us all on the spot, right?
It's fine. You've got to think about your own bloody ones.
Masked Singer.
Yes.
How did you get into that?
So I had my own show at Butlins 2011 and 12, and I know the person who works there still. And then my old agent messaged me and said, "Oh, would you like to take part in the Masked Singer? We're doing a live show. There's going to be 6 of you. I can't tell you who the other people are because I'll get fired." So, but yeah, that's how I got into it.
I know this one's a lie.
Okay.
Well, I think we all need to make our guesses.
Okay,
now.
so is it A, Jason Donovan, Natalie Imbruglia? Is it B, the Christmas song, or is it C, the Masked Singer at Butlins? Go.
I'm gonna go with B.
B, so the Christmas song.
Yep.
See,
C, which is
C.
the Masked
they
Singer.
ain't taking you back there.
C.
C. Oh, you're all bloody wrong. It was A, Natalie Imbruglia is not being in the advert. It's only Jason
wow.
Donovan. So that's why I kind of messed you around because I knew you were doing a thing there. Yes. So I'm going to be doing Masked Singer next year for Butlins, which is with some other wonderful people. And they have to guess who the singer is at the end. So they have the people who's going to be in it, but they don't know what order and who's going to be actually there. So they have to decide. Okay. And yeah, I just finished writing a Christmas song called I Can't Wait, which is going to hopefully be released next year. And I don't want to sing as much anymore, but there might be a situation that I might have to sing for this one, but we'll see what happens on that. So yeah. All
So
scary.
you go next or me?
You.
Right.
Okay, make it quick because oh my god, like
So I have 12 children,
yes,
all of them.
called
Mine.
Scott.
Oh. I've got 12 children.
Yeah.
My second one is that I've been on a date with Natalie Imbruglia.
Oh.
And the other one is that I have also done and driven a Ferrari.
Oh, okay. 12 children, name them.
That's where he's going as well.
Just name 3 of them.
Scott,
Yeah.
Charlie,
Yeah.
Benjamin.
Okay, cool. Question?
Yeah. How old are they all?
I think what we're doing is we're seeing through some lies. I think he's done 2 lies and a truth.
I think he's done 2 lies and a truth.
It's fine. Yeah, we're probably...
It was 1 lie and 2 truths.
Okay, cool. It's Kai. Don't worry about trying.
My question
Yeah.
is,
What schools did they go to?
I can't ask what I was going to ask, but how old were you when you conceived them all?
Oh, not all the first one.
Well, they, might
No, I
started
want each. I want each.
No, not each one. We're going to be
Each
here
one.
forever. Come on, Kai.
they might be different months.
Started at 14.
14. Wow. Okay, I'm going to say, by the way, B, which is Natalie Imbruglia. Because knowing you'd probably have 12 kids. What are you saying?
It's the kids.
The kids? 12 kids?
12 kids are like.
Kai?
I'm going 12 kids.
12 kids. What is it?
12 kids.
12 kids. You went on a date with Natalie Imbruglia?
Yeah, didn't know who it was.
Oh. How weird. I like that.
Maybe that's what she likes about you.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
No, basically, it kind of ended pretty quick. So basically, we was working in London doing, Pineapple Studios?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we was redoing that bits and pieces and went to a pub, I think it's called The Sun.
Right.
Obviously, you're in there and we're all a bit drunk, bits and pieces. I was like, that bird's fit.
She is.
Went over there, started chatting to her, blah, blah, blah. Went out, carried on drinking, come back, everyone's laughing. And I thought, that's because I'm the youngsters on the ability. And they were like, you don't know who that is, do you? I was like, what? And when they told me who it was that I was chatting to, I was like, oh. And literally, I was like, yeah, I got to go now. And it just killed the whole thing off.
She's up. She's all looks good now, to be honest. Okay, last one, because Kai, we're not letting you do this. This is too long.
Did you see it? Just quickly, did you see her again, or was she torn?
Oh, great song that she had.
Sorry, okay.
There you go. Go on, Em.
Okay, so I once slapped a tiger on the butt.
Oh, wow. Okay.
My second one. I once had to take over the controls of a small plane.
Cool.
And the third one is I once fell through some ice on a lake and almost died.
Oh, okay. Where was the plane?
In the air.
Oh, obviously, yeah.
Obviously.
Where were you flying over? Where were you?
We were flying over the Cotswolds.
Oh, nice. How posh. Scott, what are you saying?
Where was you when you slapped the tiger?
Whipsnade Zoo.
Straight in there. You know more information. It's good. Kai, what are you saying?
What was the name of the tiger?
Oh, Tony.
I don't know. I didn't get his name. It was a quick interaction.
Oh, I see. You're one of those, are you?
Yeah, one of those, in and out.
He's been to Benidorm. Okay, so we got tiger, small plane, and ice. I am going to say the ice. Actually, I'm saying that you didn't die going for the ice. We didn't really ask any questions. That's Scott.
Yeah, I'm saying ice.
Oh, ice as well.
I'm going to say tiger.
Dun, 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 dun.
It's the tiger.
It is the tiger. You didn't slap the tiger on the ass.
I did.
Oh, you did?
I did.
Is that the truth? Is that what we're doing?
Oh,
Two
no,
truths
I
and a
did,
lie?
I did two lies and a truth.
Oh, my God, you did the
Oh,
opposite
either way,
to
I got
Scott.
it right. So.
So
Oh, what's the other one?
It was a tiger. It was a true story.
Yeah,
And
and
the
the-
ice, the plane with both lies.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Oh, that's good. Thank you for that storytelling time. I like that. Thanks for can we find out what these games are before we start the podcast?
Yes.
I think we just make the guests do it and then we don't have to do it ourselves. It's
True,
fine.
we should have done that.
Do you think we're helping with people's mental health?
I think they're just
by-
laughing, to be honest. It's fine. I think we're getting on to
Words of
words
wisdom.
words of wisdom, words of the day, words of the week. Are we starting with you, Scott? What are we going with?
It was what it was.
Shut up.
No, I haven't really prepared for this bit.
That's fine. It's not like we do this every single week. What episode are we on?
28.
28.
There we go. Perfect.
But I prepared for that bit. I knew it was 28. You didn't.
No, I never prepare. I don't care about what number it is.
Yeah, but you look cheap.
How would I cheat?
It's basically, I feel a bit discriminated against, right?
Oh,
Do you know why?
Oh, here we go.
Because I struggled to read and write. You've got a laptop there looking at yours, and he's got a laptop looking on there. I mean, obviously, Joe's a life coach, because obviously, gonna have words of wisdom. I think I've been, like...
You could literally write down 2 words before we start the podcast.
And I did. It
What-
was what it was, and you lot said no.
But what does that mean?
Yeah, exactly. Break that down.
It is what it is, but it was what it was.
Come on, life coach. Break it down for him. Say that's... you can't give any advice, though, but just...
It was what it was.
So you should let things go. Is that what you're trying to say?
basically.
That's what I think it-
It's kind
Yeah.
of, yeah. It is what it is. It's the same as was what it was.
I'm doing a talk today, actually, to a bunch of scouts. This is the truth, not a lie. And later on, and one of the things we work on is called Little Steps. And so we get everyone to stand by the wall, and then they have to do 20 of the smallest steps they could ever imagine, just really tiny steps. And then I'll be like, "How far did you get?" And they're like, "Well, not very far." I was like, "Can you touch the wall?" And they're like, "Yeah, I can touch the wall. It's fine." I was like, "Cool." Imagine you're walking towards anything that you want to do, right? Every single day, but you only do 20 tiny steps, right? You do that for one day, you're not very far. You do it for 1 week, you're a little bit further, maybe halfway through across the room. You do that for a month, you do it for a year. You get slowly closer to the thing that you want, but you won't notice a difference until you turn back after an amount of time and be like, whoa, I can't believe how much I've achieved. If you try and learn Spanish, right, for the first month you'll be terrible, but the next you'll be better, but you still won't feel like you're better. But you'll be much better than you were a year ago. You know what I mean? And these things of every day of doing the same things, like learning how to ride a bike, learning to talk when you're a child, learning to swim or anything like that. All those things just click into place. But it only happens through those tiny steps that we don't notice. And that's what you have to do. When you're trying to get to somewhere, what you want to do and what you want to achieve, I think it's really important to take those tiny steps. Don't cut corners, because if you cut corners, you don't really know how to get back. So one of the things that we're trying to do is just make sure that you just take your time. Nothing's done quickly. I know right now generations want everything to be like, I've done it. Or they'll be like, I'm not good at that. I can't do it anymore. We all do it. Try and pick up a guitar or piano, right, when you've never played, and watch how hard it is for you to do it. But do it every single day for a year. Trust me. You might not be Mozart, but you will be 1,000 times better, or 365 times better from the days from just doing it. You know what I mean? And and it's just the little tiny steps all the time. And I think that we forget that that's how we learn. We don't learn just being natural abilities, because in the end, hard work always beats talent.
That's true.
Hard work always. You could be naturally talented at anything, but I guarantee you won't work as hard as a person next to you working hard. They're like, I'm
wants it
actually
harder.
not. I can do it, but I just not my natural talent. But I can, and then they'll be like, and you're like, just stand still, or tiny little steps. You're doing stuff, but not as much as someone else is doing next to you. So just take those tiny little steps in life, and you'll get to the place or closer to the place that you want to be.
So, Kai, come on then. Let's put you on the spot.
So
quick.
I've actually, this is one of, I had one queued up, but I've actually come up with my own one this time.
Oh, there we go.
So you are going to have to bear with me now. 'Cause
Okay.
I've
Here we go.
been thinking this through for like the past 5 minutes. I don't want to mess it up. But one self-acceptance can only be achieved when they are able to look in the mirror and be proud of the person looking back.
You did not come
I
up with that.
genuinely
He's quite
made
smart.
that up. I genuinely
He's
made
quite
that
smart.
up.
That's not what his dad told me.
No, don't listen to what parents tell you about your kids. Everyone thinks their kids are like dunce. Like, you know what I mean? It's fine. Like, Kai's quite smart.
Thank you.
He's got this down.
Of course I do.
Yeah.
So you actually come up with that
I
sentence?
actually came up with that.
Mate, it
I
sounds...
Say it
genuinely.
Viewers at home. Bernie, let's check to see if it's word for word, shall we?
Right, hang on. So it was once. Sorry.
So, yeah. Uh-huh.
Here we go. One
Ah, yeah,
self-acceptance can only truly be achieved when you can learn to look in the mirror and be proud of the person smiling back. It was something like that. I honestly, I could not tell
Yeah,
you.
you come up with it.
He
didn't you?
edits this. He can just replay that again.
I can just replay.
Like, who knows?
cut.
Who knows?
Genuinely.
I mean, I think that's...
Bernie, help me out. Check it.
check out.
I mean, it might be an actual thing, but I've came up with just that.
I like it. I like it. It's good. What are you going for, Joe? I mean, you're probably words of wisdom is the thing we're going to take away from this today. So
No pressure then.
no.
For me, it's about accepting where you are right now, wherever that is, whatever you're doing, but then taking responsibility for where you want to be next. Because things aren't going to be handed to you. I think you can't grow, you can't get to the places you want to be until actually you know where you are and you're okay with that. Because everyone starts from somewhere. If something's not right now, if you're not happy with something right now, accept where you are right now. Take it all in. But then take responsibility to get to the next bit. That would be what my words would be today.
Love that. I think we should make sure that's on the YouTube Shorts, just in that little bit there. I think it's going to help a lot of people. Thank you so much for being a wonderful
Thank you for
guest.
having me.
I know you came in to a crazy conversation that we're having about how many people. Message below right now. How many people, if you're having a stag or hen do, how many people do you reckon it is acceptable to have at your hen or
Still
stag
on
do?
about
I'm
it.
still going on it because we didn't have it at the beginning. It's a good thing to do. So be interactive. So if you do want to get interactive with this, or you do want to sponsor this podcast, you can do both. Put how many people you would have at your hen and stag do if you are getting married or fictitiously getting married. And if you want to sponsor this podcast, you can do this. We can put your lovely logo up on the screen as well. And if you have any merchandise, we can make sure we have it here. If you have cups to give us, we'll make sure our guests
Hang
drink out
on.
of it.
Just to finish off.
Yes.
Did
Oh.
anybody pick up in the podcast
Here we go.
that he's going to get me a job at the postcode lottery?
Well, I said I'll try. I can't get
Oh,
it.
mate, that means so much more. Just even if I don't get it and you did try.
Okay.
But I need to know that you tried.
I'm going to say what Joe said, just not right now. Anyway, we'll be back for episode 29. We're nearly at our 30th. That's crazy.
Are we going to have a party?
Not for 30th, but maybe 50th. It's fine. Nothing's for 30. Come on. 50th. We've got to get to 50. Do you know that the percentage-wise of getting to 30 podcasts puts you in like the 10% of podcasts ever?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You just need now someone to listen to it.
Yeah, but do you know what? When that does happen, they've got 30 to backdate. It's better if everyone started listening to our podcast right at the beginning and they were like, "Oh, cool, when's the next one?" And you're like, "Oh, it's next week." They're like, "Oh, okay, whatever." But now, if they're like, "Oh, I really like that episode. What others they got?" Yeah, we got 30.
That's what I
others.
love about Netflix.
They can
Is
go
that
back.
you can watch the whole thing in one go.
binge it.
Boosh, have that.
Love it. That's what we can do. You can binge 28 episodes of this. Well, that's a lot of us. But we'll be back next week for Kai's actual last week here. I'm going to be sad. We're going to bring balloons that I'm going to forget at home. Scott, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Joe,
And
thank you so much.
We'll catch you next week.
For having me.
Kai, we love you. Salute.